It's a taking effect. Gold looks strong. Okay, we are live on YouTube.
Looks strong. Turn it up.
Yeah, gold is looking good. Live on YouTube. So welcome to everybody this morning. Let me just share my screen.
Heidi ho, folks.
There we go. There we go. So we start a new week, mate. We start a new week with the FTSE 100 very, very likely.
The new month, which is far more important.
Oh gosh, we do. Yeah, we do start a new month. Yeah, and it is much more important. You're absolutely right. And I think, as I say, I think we're going to get
godforsaken May. Get it out of our hair.
What's that? Get you didn't like May, did you?
No, May sucks.
Not a enjoyable month for you, mate. But
oh, no disasters, but you know,
just a frustrating month.
Pretty ordinary.
Yeah. Do you know, a strange week really. I mean, I managed to get my. I was looking for downside on Thursday, and I managed to catch this move just at the end of the week on the Friday. But you know, this bar just tells you everything you need to know about it continuing down. Now it's just not going to happen. So that downside trade is off. Now there is
same thing happened with me on dollar yen. Thought I was away.
Yeah. No, certainly not. You know, Donald Trump's speech was a fascinating one, very well delivered and very well read, very well written. Actually, I doubt he I very much doubt he wrote it, but he did deliver it. You know, very, very well. I have to say, he is in many respects a very good rhetorica. Is rhetorica? What do they call those?
Or whatever. Orator.
Orator. Very good orator. I think so. Yeah, I think
Actually, I recall maybe about a year ago, he did one very, very. I haven't seen this one, but I remember, sitting back going, "Wow, that's a hell of a speech."
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was about.
I can't deny that that the man has a talent for making his point, and he did. You know, he sounded tough on China, but without really going the whole way and suggesting that there would be those tough sanctions. So we are looking to push higher. Now, the questions where we get in, really, I mean, there was this opportunity here, and I was thinking about taking this trade, but I didn't love it. I've got to be honest. I didn't love the setup, and really it was because we still had this this potential resistance here. You know, we were sort of like just stuck around about that area. So I didn't take it, but now it's, you know, maybe looking a bit better. So what we're really looking for is a pullback, and it could be a pullback. Oh, I could have got my tool set up. Maybe I shouldn't use it every time, but we're either looking for a pullback here. All the way down here would be better. You know, I'd love to see the market down here just so we can take it from that particular point. So I'm kind of interested in around about the 61.26 level, I think. If it takes off, it takes off. I think I'm going to just have to leave it if it does. There are still some issues out there, but those issues are significantly subsiding. So I would suspect we are going to be pushing higher, and it's just a case of what's going to be the best price to get in. Now, there's always the scaling option where we take maybe half here and half here with a stop down there. So going to have to work out what the value of this gap is in relation to a lower line. I think somewhere around about the 6,100 level would be the stop. Now we're currently at 61.67. That's at 61.56. So it could be that we go in one here, one down here. So I'm going to watch that and see what happens, mate. But let me just open up the potential for that. Obviously, I'd prefer to get two in down the bottom, but if that's not going to happen, then so be it. We will look at it in a different way. So looking for a little bit of a downdrift initially this morning, mate, and then probably a small one, and then we'll see if we can get a trade on. But I'm not going to trade straight away. I'm going to just let maybe at least two or 3 minutes pass minimum, and then we'll see what we get.
All right, mate. Happy days. Pound, US dollar.
Yeah, should we get the pound trade on?
Sure thing.
There you go.
Now, speaking of the pound, I traded the pound long on Friday, but I want to know what happened to this one. I can't. Did we win on that?
Oh, I don't know.
122.83 Thursday. I think it might have been break even. I'm not sure. I think we got a TP1 out of it. Anyway, we'll tackle that later. I can't quite recall, but I'm now in a 4-hour trade on pound US dollar long, and I'm yet to take profit on that. Hasn't gone that far. Righto, but today, hourly chart. Let's fix up this. We change. Yes, we have 1, 2, 3. So the high is there, the low is there. We'll go low first. 123.76 becomes 123.66. So 1.2366 is the short entry. And the stop loss is 15 above this, which will be 1.2299. Okay. Oh, too many nines. That doesn't make any sense at all. This level's wrong. God, that's annoying. Why does it do that to me?
Oh, I don't know.
Can you tell me the high of that bar, please, mate? Hourly
Yeah,
chart.
sure. Hourly chart on the pound.
Must be 240
is
something.
It is the high is 1.2414.
So that becomes 1.2429. Okay, and the low of that one looks okay. So that is our short order. Our long order, therefore, becomes a buy at 1.2429. And the stop loss will be at 1.2366. And there we blow. Guys, if anyone took this trade, I haven't got my real account that I took this on opened. And I'd like to know what happened there. I'm pretty sure we got a TP1, but I'm not sure what happened after that. Because if where do we get in? I can probably work that out. What was on? It was on, I didn't put the bloody thing down. Would have been an hourly or 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart on Thursday. I put it on Neo, which is why I don't know. I don't remember it. So that was Friday. That was Thursday. We either traded this one or this one. Let me see. 1.2283. 2281. 2283. It would have been this one that we traded, more likely than not, which means we would have been taken. We should have got the lot out of that. If anybody in the room who took that trade showed me, took it, then okay. Pound yen as well. Yeah, pound yen, I remember. Awesome. Okay, so we got ourselves out of a bit of trouble on Thursday. Don't know that. I'll have to check my real account journal to see if I've actually got out of them. I might have got out of the month closer to break even than I thought, mate. Anyway,
nice.
That's the trade for today. I'll get rid of that. It's now it's now been run and won, and that is all we've got. If I was trading the pound today, and I actually am because I'm in the long, based on the break and retest of here, which of course we've placed on Thursday. Yes, it was Thursday and that order expired. I replaced it on Friday morning, as I did dollar yen, and yeah, dollar yen went wobbly boot after it got into profit, but this one looks okay to me, and pound yen as well. So we're looking at a TP1. I don't know if you guys are in this trade. I can't even remember what the parameters were on it. Again, I've got to check my EA on the other account. But I think TP1 would have been there around about the 124, 55, 60 mark. And that's exactly where I will take profit as well. Maybe a little bit lower than that at DR1, perhaps. We'll see if that happens. But if I'm trading it today and not in that trade, by the look of this, this is on its way to the top of the range, perhaps to this previous level I've got here, 124.90. I've got no idea. Oh, well, yes, it's been resistance and support. That's why. So that's a bold TP1. The conservative TP1 would be in here somewhere. We're not that far away from it, actually. So I'd find that very, very difficult to trade right now if I'm not in. I'd be looking for a pullback of some kind. We've got the daily pivot there. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, some strong bars in there, but that one's not so strong. Interesting. Yeah, I'd be okay with a test of the daily pivot and probably even the monthly pivot as a retest. That may be a good place to pick this up. I'd like to know what the feeling of the US market's going to be after the weekend, and probably the UK market as well. I don't know that we're seeing anything substantial on that front just yet. Dollar yen has come down today and now tested the pivots or retested.
Yeah, it seems the dollar's getting a little bit affected by these riots. And
yeah, we had a chat about that last night, and
yeah, I mean,
it's tough to say, isn't it? Really, whether it is going to affect it.
I don't think it'll affect the S&P negatively, if I'm honest. I think equities will probably do maybe. Well, Amazon and Apple have already kind of taken some measures to protect their staff. So I don't know whether that might play into some aspects of it. But I think if the dollar is weakening, then potentially that actually could be quite positive for the likes of the S&P. So I'm not sure whether it will be that negative. I don't think it'll be that negative for equities. I think if anything, equities might even do okay out of it. So it's a strange situation, isn't it? That I'm just going to start scaling in here, mate. Let me just do it quickly. And
then I'll go back to you because I can do some analysis a bit later. No problem.
Okay, let's take that. Take that and quickly do this as well. There we go. Okay, let's go back to me, and then I'm just going to show you my first scale in here. So I've taken a trade here as we pull back to this area here. But really the idea for me is that I would quite like to continue. I'll probably put another position on here. So rather than just worrying about this particular area, I think that the trend to the upside looks pretty good. Obviously, this is going to be the target up here, and the scaling is really going in at half. I don't think there would necessarily be too much in the way of anything. We might continue to bounce to the upside from this point, which is why I'm a little bit concerned, because you can see that there is this horizontal level, and the reason I've gone in here rather than where the yellow line is that I'm not 100% sure whether the line is this horizontal level or whether it's this high. So I've decided to get in at this particular horizontal level here. And the area that I'm looking for to potentially get out of the market is down at this point here. So if it comes back down to here, then I will add again, but I will use this area as the potential get out point. So you can see the daily pivot is probably the target. It might even be, yeah, it probably is the daily pivot actually. So I'm looking at the daily pivot as the final scaling area, and I just don't know how far this market is going to go. So we'll look at that top level there. You know, when we flip this to a 4 hour here, I'll look at that top level up there as a kind of first target, if you like, with the potential for the market just to continue to ease higher. If it can get through this area, now you can see that there is this gap here. It looks like it's slightly lower than the ultimate target, so it's around about there where the gap is. But if it gets through this area, then really we're looking at the next point where the next gap is. So I'm quite keen to see whether we can actually get through and potentially hold this point. So let's look at the 62.26. I'm on Fusion here, so 62.26 as a first target just to have a look at. And at that point, if we get up there, then we can just see whether we want to move those stops up to break even. And the reason I'd like to move up to break even is just in case we're about to go, you know. So but we can, you know, we'll give it a bit of time here. So at 62.26, we'll move it to break even and see what happens. Now I wish I could bring in my tool here. I wonder if I can, just in case you guys aren't getting the, because I've gone in at market price. Yes, long, Alan. So I've gone long here. Can use the channel on the 4 hour. Let's have a look. Oh, good morning, everybody, by the way. The channel on the 4 hour. Are we talking about this one here? You talking about that one there, LT? Or are you talking about the this little thing here? Is it 1 or 2? What, the second one? This one here? Now that's probably more of an hourly channel. Let's just have a look. It's actually a falling wedge really on the hourly, because the line isn't really equidistant. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, it's kind of got a bit of both about it, hasn't it? I mean, either way, if we use the space here, then we can look at this for our measured move, and the measured move, yeah, that takes us back to the high. The first one, okay, we'll check that as well. This falling wedge or maybe falling channel takes us back to this high. So there is a measured move at 62.55 off breakout. Now that does mean that the chance of it coming back into this area is fairly high. It might, you know, there may well be some validity in allowing the market to come back a bit, which is why I'm not keen just to kind of enter here with a stop loss under here. I think this is all upside basically. So I want to kind of get my stop loss under an area. So that means I've gone in at much less with an idea to add my second position down here if I need to. If it starts to move to the upside, then only half a position in, no big deal. You know, most important thing is that we get some trades off to the races and see if we can make some profit early on. So the 4 hour channel, let's just check that. I mean, yeah, a little false area there, isn't it? Let's see what we got here, actually. Let me just delete some of these lines. I'm going to do this on a clean chart because we're going to be putting quite a few lines on our chart now for a little while. So we got this lower line here. That's the lower level. Now that's what I see on the 4 hour. Again, it's like it's a rising wedge that is so far untested. That also leads us near the high up there. If I use the channel, oops. If I use the channel instead, we're really looking at that, I guess, which is a little bit questionable because it's at a few false areas or you know, a few breakouts. Well, if we're using this channel as information, really, I mean, you could call it a channel, but really, we're probably, I'd probably be more keen to say that we've got a trend line down here that we're bouncing away from. I'll leave it there for right now. I mean, that does suggest that we're going to get up into the upper echelons of the potential areas that we're looking for on the daily, depending on how long that takes. That does leave the 6,400 as a potential target down here. So so there is some room for some upside. That does give us 230 pips potentially if we manage to catch this one. So I'm guessing that's what you're pointing out. So really, we're probably not going to be expecting the upper end of the channel to break out at this stage. But if we are at the lower end of the channel, then it is actually quite a nice place to try and take the trade for some upside. I don't know if you guys were in the show yesterday, but we were talking about the FTSE in some detail because after the Donald Trump speech, the market seemed to have a fairly decent rally. You know, this was the move really. Now, what might end up happening is maybe we get more of a pause here, and maybe we're looking really for some sort of inverted head and shoulders instead of just just continuing a little trend to the upside. So it's possible that it's still going to nestle in here for a little while and then start going higher. But really, we're looking at a breakdown here before we're suggesting that we should be looking for downside. So the upside looks pretty good. It's just a question of where it is, and that's a really good reason to scale in at lower risk and just see if this is a trend and it goes higher, then we can start thinking about additions to the trade a little bit later. But if this is going to nestle down here, then we can still kind of like stay alive, if you like, and even potentially get another bounce off that trend line. So I'd like to stay in this as long as possible with this position. So a nice light start to the position is the way I'm going to trade this, and that's the way I'm going to go. Yeah, I mean, the reason? One reason that I can think that it might get blocked. In fact, there's maybe two, but we've got bank holidays over in Germany and France. We got ISM manufacturing data later on at 3, so it could be that we're looking at the US session before we get any kind of pickup or any kind of genuine feel and an indication of where price is going and what the momentum is. And on top of that, so we got ISM. I thought there was some sort of decision out this today, but maybe not. So RBA overnight. But we need to check through this data anyway. Cash rate in Australia and a statement in Australia. So we can have a look at the Aussie dollar in a second, see how that's being affected. GDP, gosh, the Aussie's getting quite a lot of news this week. I suppose it is the first week of the month, so it is the Aussie week. ISM non-manufacturing on Wednesday. Not that those numbers seem to be making any difference to the market because they're undoubtedly going to be pretty poor. Monetary policy statement from the euro. Now this could be a trend maker or a trend breaker. So I'd be looking at Thursday for us to really get some movement. So there's the chance that a non-farm employment change on Friday, big week actually this week. So the first week is going to be a big one for the markets, and maybe that just puts things a little bit on hold. But it could be a fascinating week. The big question I think for the market is where we look for downside. It's not really whether we want to go short, because I think it's unquestionable that there is a move to the downside in the market coming. But the big question is where. Where is that move going to start to make itself evident? And we've got to look here You've got to look at this kind of gap area, maybe a shade higher, but somewhere around about 6,400 to 6,600 could be the area that we're looking for downside, or it might be here. You know, we might be looking here. At this stage, the catalysts seem to be being completely ignored. So I don't see any huge reason for us to be doing anything but looking at the longs here. But I think we need to be safe. I think that's the point I'm making. I think we do need to be safe with our longs. So if we get into these areas, we're probably going to be having to shift those stops up to break even. And if you want to take some profit off the table, then that's maybe not the worst thing to do either. But difficult in some respects. When you see price action which ends up being quite parabolic, even on a short-term time frame. So even on the 15, where the move has been so far fairly steep to the upside, and that's not really the best kind of structure. It forms on almost no base. But if we flip to the daily looks a lot better. The daily looks like it is just drifting up. So my first target anyway, if we can hold on, is going to be around about the 6,400 level. That's my aim here. So maybe looking at a couple more 100 pips before we start to flip positions, unless we get some news out this week which could change that. It doesn't look like what we've got on the table so far, in as much with Donald Trump and China, and with the riots, it doesn't appear so far that there is any appetite for selling this market off. So when and where that happens, I'm hoping the chart will make it fairly evident. And if we think about what the charts have been doing over this period, really, when we have had a significant move, the last time we had a significant move to the downside, I think was probably this area here. And we did get a really nice bar. There was huge exhaustion going up here, very, very steep to the upside, and a really nice bar to suggest that we had that downside. So even if we'd managed to wait for the close, even if we had to wait for the close of this 4-hour bar here, we still got a lot of movement after the event. So the market is drifting higher, and all we're really looking for is some really good signals that if it's going to go lower, that we are kind of out the way of trouble. So stops at break even is probably the best way to handle that. The only other thing I was looking for this morning, or looking at this morning, was the fact that we are at a bit of a negative pattern here as well. We do have this head and this left shoulder here, and that means that there's a neckline down there and a possible right shoulder here. So there are some technical reasons to suggest that it could be here. We just pause. ECB comes out, and then we start to fly to the downside. I mean, that is Thursday actually, so that's fairly unlikely, but you never know. So we've got to be on our mettle. Definitely worth getting some trades in long and see what happens. But as I say, we're going to have to be on our mettle and make sure that we manage these stops correctly. It's just easing up a little bit so far without really doing anything spectacular. Yeah, it is weird, LT. It is weird, but that's that. I don't remember sort of seeing too much in the market that hasn't been quite peculiar for the last 10 years, if I'm honest. I mean, it's even down to as I was sort of like saying a few weeks ago, even down to the euro. The euro I find completely confounding as well, and I think you could pretty much pick it out with any currency or any market. The fact that the euro has survived as it has, and now it seems to be a bit of a darling of the markets at this particular stage.
I'm pretty peeved that I missed that long.
Oh, really? Yeah.
A little bit later.
Yeah.
Not happy with myself. I actually blindsided myself, and I explained that to you very shortly as well, you guys. And it's a trap for us all. If your bias is so strong that you want something so badly, you actually are blinded by that, and you can't afford to be doing that.
Do you know, mate? I think that's a really, really good subject to talk about, and actually, I don't know if you've managed to kind of get some answers of a way that you can um, avoid that happening. But I think that's a really good subject. It'd be really good to get to that.
Yeah, look, I think the Dalai Lama's got the answer to that, mate. Frankly,
Oh yeah,
I, and it's all about looking inside, and very little to do with anything else. Frankly, you've just got to search inside and say, well, what do I really think, need, want, see here, and it's see, the see part. It's not anything that's going on inside your brain that's anything other than that with trading, in my humble opinion. Yes, you've got a bias based on X, Y, Z, but if you see something that is, even if it's against that, if you see something that's so obvious, you've pretty much got to go that path, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we said we were bulls, didn't we, Chandru? Yeah, I think we said we were bulls.
So let's have a look at a quick look at the Aussie as well. I know I don't know if Emmanuel's in the room today. I'm hoping Emmanuel is still in this this Aussie long. I know he was in this Aussie long a few weeks ago because it was a wave rider trade. Is he in the room? I don't know if he's in the room or not. Oh, is he there? Yes, he is. Good morning, Emmanuel. How you doing, buddy? Are you still in this Aussie long? I know we were talking about this one.
Oh, was I? Sorry, mate. I changed over the weekend. Sorry, mate.
What's that?
I was talking to Chandru.
Oh, okay. Oh, you've closed the position. Okay, all right. Did you close the position because of a technical reason, a stop loss reason, or was it just that you kind of got just a bit worried about the trade? Because it's really good to know that, and in a way, I hope that you're making a journal where you're noting down this stuff as well. Because if it was an emotional reason that you've closed the trade, then what you need to note down really is what's happened now. Because as far as I'm aware, this was from memory, I think. That there was the bar, wasn't it? I think that was the bar, or it might have even been that one there. But this is, it's a great wave rider actually, because there's
it's a great trend trade, isn't it? Absolutely.
It's a great trend trade, yeah, which is what that strategy is all about actually.
That's why I'm out of it.
That's why you're out of it.
I've been out of it for the last 2 weeks now.
Oh, do you know what, Emmanuel? You've been out of it. Yeah, you'd still want to be in this though, wouldn't you, Jeff? Or were you not long? You were long, weren't you? You were looking
I was
at
long to six. I was long to 66.75.
Yeah,
and now it's burst through there now.
Yeah, it is on its way, isn't it? But Emmanuel, that's good. That's good. Recognizing that is fantastic. And the thing is, if you know what the issue is, if you know what you did, then it becomes easier to rectify. And when you see a market which is up here at this particular point, then you potentially made a mistake, and it's fine to make a mistake. It's that's the way we learn. Now, the key thing is to be able to avoid that mistake next time. And the question is really for you is not what was the mistake, but how do you fix it? And you can't fix it just by going, I won't be so impatient, or I won't get out the trade. What is the process to make sure that you're not so impatient? And what I mean by that is, do you need to walk away from the chart while your trades are in? Do you need to maybe, certainly knowing what the rules of the wave rider are, and it's all about checking it the following week. Do you need to bring up a different currency pair on your MT4, so you're not watching the one that you're in as well? There's a few different things that that you can do just to allow the trade just to develop, because that's what it is, isn't it? We all do it where we meddle with trades. In fact, you probably don't, Jeff. You're probably one of the best equipped not to do this, but you know,
I
there's
used to though.
yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? We all go through we all go through the phase where we meddle with trades.
Well,
We've done
because
on
you
our
SH1T yourself all the time. You know, if you get
yeah.
into a bad position, you get all sweaty and you got your finger on the trigger and you're ready to get out and all those sorts of things that go through your mind. And
Yeah,
it takes a while to get out of that, I've got to say.
yeah, it does. It does take a while to get out of it, and it is it's a really important aspect of breaking through, isn't it? Because you know we've just delivered a online trading profits course, and we always talk about cyclicity for the wave rider being the keys to the kingdom. But actually, you know, while we were talking, Paul said something that I thought actually that's the keys to the kingdom. I can't remember how he put it now. It was but it was to do with the emotional aspect of trading, and it really is. You know, if you can, if we put on as much credence on our psychology as we do on our analysis, on our trade and chart analysis, that's the way that we really kind of gain the success. And how do you do that?
Dalai Lama,
Is
mate. That's what I said.
the Dalai Lama. Where is the Dalai Lama? Right? Is it in India?
Oh, he's in lots of places. He's an astral traveler.
he's in lots where he
everywhere.
just travels around, is he?
Yeah, mate. He's wherever he wants to be.
Oh well, next time he's in Brighton, I'll go and see him.
you can't because of social distancing at the moment. But
but he's the Dalai Lama. Surely he wouldn't mind.
He can fix that. Yeah,
He can fix it. Yeah, yeah. If he's got the answers.
And I don't mean to be disrespectful because I think if there's a religion on the planet that makes sense to me, that's it.
Buddhism, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, do you know it's funny actually? Probably shouldn't really get into probably shouldn't get into religion, but do you know it's obviously
we cover politics.
Yeah, all right. Well, just a quick thing on religion, and it's not a comment on anybody's religious beliefs or mine really. But when I was at school, when I grew up, then I learned about Catholicism because that was what was being taught.
Mm-hmm.
And my little girl's really she loves books and loves stories, and I was telling her I also learned classical civilization when I was at college, and it was stories about Odysseus and the battle between Troy and the Greeks, and they're brilliant stories, and I was kind of relaying some of these stories to her about Icarus and you know making his wings and flying too close to the sun, Odysseus and how he had to travel back to I can't remember where his island was now, but he had to travel back to his island, and he had his battles with the Cyclops and all this sort of thing. And I was thinking actually the Bible's got some really good stories if I remember rightly. You know, I sort of was always told the story about is it the leper that Jesus was meant to have healed, and the 5 loaves and fishes and David and Goliath. And I was thinking, right, do you know what? I'm gonna see, because my mum was quite religious, and you know she's left a Bible around the place. So I sort of thought, right, do you know what? I'm going to see if my mum's Bible's somewhere, and I'm gonna read you a story from the Bible. It's quite a good thing to know about. It's still historical, and I love history. So I picked up this Bible and I was reading through it, and the language, I tell you what, it is brutal. Some of the stuff in it is absolutely, I can't read you this. It's all about kind of, you know, this guy slaying this guy, and there's you know, there's lots of blood and guts in the Bible. It's a lot more gruesome than I realised, you know. So yeah, and it's not an easy read as well. It's kind of like you think of you know, sometimes about how Christopher Marlowe or Shakespeare would have written with lots of iths and uths at the end of words and stuff. You know, the old language. I mean, this is even older than that. So. And it's not to kind of comment on anybody's religious beliefs, but the Bible is not an easy read, so I don't think I'll be going back to that anytime soon.
Well, of course, we must recognise that that's been translated many, many times, and and I'm not calling it not factual because I don't want to get into that argument, but what I am saying is that the language, I'm sure, has changed over the years.
Yeah, it probably has. I probably need a simpler version because the stories are really good, aren't they?
King
you know,
James V, I think it is the one that's easiest to read. As I recall.
King James V. All right, and I'll tell you, actually, talking of stories, that's the other one I want to. I want to get into the kings and queens because some of those stories are brilliant as well. Henry II was my favourite. He was a vicious man. Anyway, let's get the 30-minute candle, shall we, mate? And
Oh
then,
yes,
as I
trade.
say, I'm not making a comment on people's reading because I don't really have an opinion really one way or the other on anybody's beliefs, but I do love stories and I love history, so I'm kind of looking at it from that point of view, not from a religious comment or belief comment.
No, ditto, absolutely.
So 30-minute candles. Should we have a look at those?
We should. Well, let's do that without giving you any analysis. We'll just have a look at 30-minute candles.
And maybe you could expand on the bias thing as well. If we could talk about that a bit more. Yeah.
Okay, so let's take a look at. I'm having an experiment today, and I'm just changed my candles to bars just to see what happens. I'm going to explain to you why very, very shortly.
Oh,
so here's, yeah, look, I was kind of amazed when I saw what I saw yesterday. So that's got a lot to do with it. Here I see euro dollar. This is the 30-minute chart, right? And I've kind of got to be bullish the euro now that it's done what it's done. But short term, what we've actually got here is a potential false break. It doesn't look great, though. It's kind of up and down without giving me a clean 2 candles above the broken trade line, which is what I seek most of the time, if not all of the time. But what I do see now is the break back below it. And yeah, it's just a little bit messy, but I'm seeing a retest of that trade line now. And if that were to be the case, that really is appealing for a short. And I don't really mind trading through that low. It's not the low of the day. Low of the day is down here. So there's plenty of room to take profit. I just need a candle that's of reasonable size. So the one that's forming at the moment is about 5 pips. I'd like to see it up here to about 11, 12 pips, something like that. Then we could, this is obviously an issue, this pair of lows here, but willing to trade through those to get down to the low of the day, which is pretty much target area. I think the daily pivot is the target without question. And I'd probably look to take my first profit in, I think, this vicinity here. So around about 7 pips. So if I had 12 pips of risk, 10 or 12 pips of risk, I'd take TP1 at 7 and I'd exit at the daily pivot or just above the daily pivot. That would be good for me. So that's the euro. No trade yet. Now, dollar yen, I am short already and I am in trouble. Well, I'm not in massive trouble, but I'm in probably about halfway to my stop, something like that. I got in, was on the 4-hour chart, candles versus, where did I get in? Here, I think. Maybe on this candle. That looks to be the one. No, we'd be out of that if that was the case. No, we wouldn't, because our stops are up here. That was the one, right. Our stops are way up above the swings. So what we did is trade that on Thursday, and Friday it just smashed through everything, smashed through the bottom of the range that we had, a little bit tighter range than that. We got near to the bottom, and then Donald bloody Trump. Goodness gracious me, look what he did. He took my my trade that looked like going south in a hurry and turned it north in a flurry. And I'm not happy with him, frankly. And I'm going to tell him next time I see him. So we've got a bit of an issue here with, and I haven't taken profit. So that's why we've got an issue. But we're just in profit now, so no big deal. We'll see how that pans out. But I do see potential here, and I can't remember who put it in the questions box, maybe Shukri. Yeah, Shukri. Where we do see this big candle that's come back across the weekly pivot and the daily pivot, and the current bar on the 4-hour chart is retesting that and does look very much like a double cross. But I want to see it close up here above the pivots to be able to trade that on an intraday basis. If If I look at the 30-minute chart and the hourly chart, maybe there's an opportunity there. But yeah, no real trade line to take advantage of that. So I totally get what you're saying, Shukri, and yep, I like it. I'm a bear without question. We've come off the top of the range here. We've put in a lower high. We've put in kind of a lower low, but maybe this is the lower low. Maybe we're looking for a bit more retracement. I'm not entirely on board with getting short just yet, in particular with that bar. Really like to see that come back and on, like I said, on the 4-hour chart, close above the pivots. I think that would be a far better entry there if we close up here rather than an entry there if we close down here, if you understand what I'm saying. So if I then look at the bigger picture on the weekly chart, yeah, we're still in that range. So it's, and if you look at the ascending channel here, there's clearance yet to be had on that. So maybe we need to break that and then come back and retest those pivots. Maybe that's what we're looking for. So it's no fait accompli right now, I've got to say. But I would really like to see price get down here, then come back and challenge the monthly pivot, weekly pivot, daily pivot, bottom of range, bottom of this range. Yeah, that's got to be the signal, hasn't it? At the moment, if you look at the daily chart, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I'm going to count them. Too many candles. The last 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 trading days, make that 9, have just sat on the monthly pivot and gone absolutely nowhere. This bar here on Friday is interesting, to say the least. And if you're of a bullish frame of mind, you'd probably be looking at that and saying, okay, I'm long here. So I can totally see that as well. In fact, with my stops up here, I'm kind of the thought process that I need to hedge this. Because if that takes over, if that bar takes over, this is going to explode through here and get up to here, in my opinion. I don't see how or why that would happen, given the circumstances and the fundamentals. But yeah, I can absolutely see that happening. Absolutely can. So I'm thinking very seriously about putting a hedge on this short at this level. Close of this bar here. I might even do that. If you guys aren't in that trade, I mean, I wouldn't even worry about what I'm saying. But apart from the fact that I can see this big bar here, and it's telling me that this can explode to the high side. But I don't see why, apart from a weak yen, I've got to say that. Oh, we're only looking at 30-minute charts, aren't we? Goodness gracious, I get carried away, don't I, for some reason. I just like analysis, I think. This is Aussie US dollar, and wow, it's just shot through. Amazing. That's how weak the dollar is, of course. And I can't see anything to do here except just hang on and wait for something. Although that said, you know, I go back to what I was looking for last week. And last week I was looking for a confirmation of the China rumor that dictated tariffs, import tariffs on Australian coal and iron ore. And again, if that was to be the case, if that rumor turned into fact, then there's no 67s about the Aussie US dollar. There's probably 57s if that were to be the case. So I guess I was kind of positioning myself for that last week and didn't do too much damage, I'm pleased to say, but I'm still there. And if that does happen, you know, there's a massive, massive trade to be had here. But I can't see that at the moment, really can't. This is on fire. The dollar's weak. And whilst ever that's the case, and they don't put tariffs on coal and iron ore, then the Aussie should continue to rally. So on a 30-minute chart at the moment, I'm just hopeless, got nothing. I don't even think I'd want to trade it short. If on a 30-minute chart, I'd much rather see something on a 4-hour chart that gave me maybe a head and shoulders, maybe a double top, something like that, and then a lower high or a break of the neckline and retest of the neckline. Then we can go. But yeah, it's impossible without that fundamental issue to trade this short at the moment, or long, for that matter. Pound US dollar. We've spoken about that before on the 30-minute charts. There is nothing to do. I wouldn't be looking to go long here at all, of course. That's not my MO. What I do see is too late. There was an opportunity potentially to take, although, yeah, it's not real great either. I'm talking about a break, and let's have a look at that on the hourly. No, similar to the Aussie, I can't trade that at the moment. I mean, fortunately, I am in a long on pound US dollar, but at the moment, no, there's nothing there for me. Oh, I missed this one. Really missed this one. This morning, this happened. What's that? The second candle of the day. Potential, well, not potential, perfect false break, really, of resistance. You can take that up a bit even. This is what we look for every day, guys. And you know what? It was even tradable. And I don't like to trade close to the lows, as you know, but break, consolidate, re-entry, retest, enter there, stop there, or if you want to be conservative, stop there. And you're already past probably 1 or 2 to 1, 2 to 1 maybe. Wow. The key, of course, is you can't trade into these lows without taking profit. And there was room to do that. And then you even got a second, you got a retest of that level, and away you go. And now it's just tanking. Amazing. That's dollar CAD on the hourly chart. So again, nothing to do. This is very similar to what was happening last week, where I had perfect vision coming into Monday, and Monday just wrecked the whole bloody setup because all my ranges got broken, and I then had to go back to tours, and we traded 3 losing trades last week. Fortunately, Thursday and Friday got us out of a bit of POO. But this is happening again where my ranges are breaking. Dollar Swissy. Yeah, at the bottom of the range, as you can see. Tough to trade at that level, but a break and retest does get me interested. Untested daily pivot. No, it doesn't get me interested. Do I want to trade this long? Let's go back to the 4-hour chart and go a little bit wider even still. Let's go to the daily chart. There you go. That's a far better picture. You can see the level strong through here. It is a strong support level. The dollar is so weak, however, at the moment. And look at that break and retest. Did we talk about this last week? I don't think we did. But there it was, break and retest, and away you go. Tough, and I know the Swissy's been weak as well. So really a tough pair. I think I'd rather see this break clearly and then come back and retest the bottom of that range before I look to trade it short. But the feeling that I've got is that it can't break through here right now. As weak as the dollar is, then I'm looking probably for this to come back and test the pivots and then see what happens. If that were to happen, if we got a break that maybe closed on DS1 there and then got a retest, this is the daily chart I'm talking about, so I'm probably thinking Wednesday, Thursday before this is tradable. But if that were to be the case, if we bounced off these pivots and put in a higher low, then I think there's probably a reason to think this can go back to the top of that range. But at the moment on the 30-minute charts, yeah, just you let it run, or look for a little reversal pattern and maybe a higher low here. You can trade it to the pivot here and you target TP1 here, target weekly pivot. That'd be the only thing I'd be thinking, but I'm not really thinking that too strongly, I've got to say. Kiwi, like the Aussie, is on fire. as are most things against the US dollar at the moment. And isn't that a sad thing? I can't see how I can trade this today either. It doesn't make any sense to me. So what I'd be looking for, if that were to be the case, certainly not a long. Although we're not at DR2 yet, we're approaching that level. Yeah, we've got to break out. We've got to test a daily pivot, I suppose. If you're going to trade this at all, it would have to be long, but I don't see an entry here for me. Doesn't exist. So that is pretty much it, Ash. 2, 4, 6, 7. I've been through the majors. Let me see if there are any questions. Dollar index breaking down. Isn't that terrible, Shukri? I can't believe that's the case.
Did we go through the bias?
Yeah. Yep, sure. Okay, here's the thing. Now, last week we were, wow, there it goes. Last week we were looking for downside on euro dollar, right? Because we had this range in place. And that is the principle upon which I base most of my trades. Bounce off the top, trade a lower high, bounce off the bottom, trade a higher low. And very clearly, last week we had a bounce off the top and we were looking for a lower high, right? But if you have a very good look at this chart, what you can see is, and this is very, very close to a sentiment cycle, I've got to say, where you've had, I can't remember what it's termed, but you've had a prior warning with the break here and retest. You've had an overt warning probably with the next one. You've then had this big retracement, and I can't remember what they're called for the life of me. I think that particular one is called the panic stations. This is where we go into panic here. Didn't quite get to where it needs to go, however. This level here is normally lower than that level there. And that, I guess, is throwing it into all sorts of, but forget the sentiment cycle if you don't go along with that. That's all good. But what we do have here is the refusal of price to go lower, go lower, go lower, go lower, not only on the bottom of that rectangular range, but on the bottom of the descending channel, right? And at the end of the day, that was the last time we hit the boundary. So what are we looking for? Longer the stronger. We're actually not looking for a lower high and I think we talked about this, in the context of things, we're actually looking for a higher low. So when I say I blindsided myself, the only thing really that I had in my head was a lower high here. I didn't have in my head a higher low. And that's what killed me. I mean, I didn't lose money on a short trade, but look what we got here. We got a higher low off this base. Let me get rid of the rectangle. And now it makes perfect sense that we're looking for higher lows because we're bouncing off here, bouncing off here, bouncing off here. We're looking for a higher low, and it delivered pretty much as well as it could. Doji doesn't suit most people to trade. I like it, frankly. And not only that, you get your entry above the daily pivot, above the monthly pivot, above the weekly pivot. So if that resistance holds, you don't get taken into the trade. But wow, that's what I should have been looking for. And well, I should have been looking for either or, frankly. But the longer the stronger puts you into a higher low, not a lower high. So my bias, albeit wrong, was out of focus. And I absolutely blindsided myself. And what that means is I was not open to the higher low. I was only open to the lower high. And that's a dead set trap. And what I said before was you have to trade what you see. And if I'm open to both the long and the short, being a lower high or a higher low, I should have seen this. I really should have seen it. And that happened on Monday. And I'm really peeved with myself that I missed that. But guess what? Next time it happens, I won't miss it, because I will have that flexibility around me. And that's, such a strong lesson to learn. You can't blindside yourself. Don't have such a strong opinion that it can't waver, because the market doesn't give it two hoots what you're thinking, really doesn't. It's just setting up for whatever is going to happen next. And if you're not on top of that, you miss out. And I missed out. So I'm pretty peeved.
But, yeah, well, as you say, mate, the obviously the next time it won't happen, but
and that's the key, isn't it?
Yeah,
you've just got to take that on board and learn the lesson.
Yeah, and always remember the market's always there, so it doesn't matter if we miss trades, really, does it?
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, it's irritating. I grant you that.
Yeah, you'd rather get a trade wrong than miss it, really, I think. I think when I say get it wrong, I don't mean make a glaring mistake. I do mean the trade goes against you. You'd rather that happen than you actually miss the trade. I think that, for me anyway.
Yeah, well, at least you've got some skin in the game. If you get it wrong, at least you've got some skin in the game. And this is the thing. The problem is that, and as long as your risk is set correctly, then I'd kind of agree with you. I always rather wish I were in than out to a degree. But by the same token, there's nothing worse than seeing a trade and then procrastinating, and then it going the way that you thought it would.
Yeah. Look, Alan, I actually don't know what a ring low is. I mean, I know kind of the whole premise of it, but I don't know how to describe it.
I think it's a morning star, mate.
Is it? Okay.
I think so. I think that's the because I look at that as well, because Julian always mentions the ring low.
Yeah, and he traded this. That's how I'm going back over this, because we spoke about it last night, and I was kicking myself, because that's one of his things, right? That really is one of his things. That's how he trades. So I've kind of picked that up over the years as well, but I trade that bar. I don't trade this bar as a high or low if it works. I mean, if it sets up properly. But this one, I haven't kind of got the hang of that. Obviously, you other guys know what it is, but apparently that bar is tradable. That makes it a ring low, as you say, the morning star. I wouldn't have waited for that. I would have traded that one had I seen it. But obviously I didn't see it. And of course, that's a bad time of day for me to be trading. That's Monday morning, but that's a daily chart. I should have picked it up on Tuesday morning, and I didn't. Do I keep kicking myself in the bum or what? No, I don't. I'll get over it.
Well, what was the other thing I was going to ask you? Did you cover why you're trading the OHLC?
Well, that exact reason, because I think this is far easier to see on bar chart than it is on a candle chart. Why? Let me go back. I think that's inconsequential, that candle, though I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
So that you can switch between those just on those tabs above, right?
Up
if you go to your if you go to your there. So that's a bar, and then
Yep. Actually, that's a good point. I can do that. I can play pretty pictures.
You can.
How do you get it back? Oh, here.
Right. Next to it. Yeah.
Right. So
interesting, aren't they? Because that's the same bar.
It is really, isn't it? It doesn't change, does it? I think that you take out the colours, and it becomes, for want of a better expression, black and white. There is no grey in there. There's nothing clouding your vision.
Yes.
It is really black and white. That's interesting.
Well, do you know what? And I've always found the the argument about colors of bars interesting as well. Um, do you have is it easier really when you have color recognition to know what the bar is telling you, or is it better just to kind of analyze the actual price movement on the bar just from seeing where the high and low is?
Yep. I've never was taught to trade bars. I was always taught. I've only lived with candles, so it's kind of a new world for me. But I kind of get it, and I'm trying, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm just having a little experiment on a few of the pairs to see if I can make sense of it, and I'm happy to do that. There's a few questions I need to answer before we go any further. How do I know if it's a ring low? I don't. I really don't. I'm not trading a ring low. I'm trading a higher low. That's what I'm trading. So if I've got a double bottom, or in this case, a base or a triple bottom, then a higher low makes sense to me. And if I trade above that bar, it makes more sense to me. Because if I'm wrong, generally this bar and this bar will dictate that the market goes lower, and I won't be taking into a long. But if they're not really in control, and this is a beautiful place to adopt that, because you've got the pivots here protecting you as well. So it's come back below the pivots. You would expect the pivots to provide some sort of resistance. And if they were to do that, and the bulls aren't going to be in control here, you should maybe get a rally to the pivots and then fall away. That's why I think the entry here is really the entry to take. But you've got to have, as always, you've got to have some form of contextual understanding of what's going on, and we've got that in spades. Can't break low, can't break low, can't break low, can't break low, higher low. Duh. That's a no-brainer at the end of the day. So that's what we're trying to achieve every single day. That's what we're trying to achieve. Higher lows, lower highs, off a top, off the bottom. We got it ass up. We thought that was a top, but really we were trading a bottom. Oh dear. As I said, as long as you make it not happen again, everything's okay. So we've covered the ring low. I don't know exactly what the criteria for a ring low is, but I think Ash, you're probably right. If it's a morning star, then that works and makes sense. Should we change? No, look, whatever you're comfortable with, Alan, really. If you want to change from bars to candles or candles to bars, do it. But if you're comfortable with one, then I would just stick with that. Magi pattern. Magi pattern, we'll remember this. Magi. What's Magi? Cup for Magi, not coffee. Looks like 2 cups in the hand. Oh, okay. Now I'm with you. I'm going the wrong way. The ring pattern is exactly what we've just been talking about, Shukri, on euro dollar, the ring low. And we believe the criteria may well be for a morning star. So, the way I read it is the middle candle of the formation gives you the lowest low, and the third candle of the formation gives you the highest high, and maybe even closes on the high or thereabouts. I think that's pretty much the criteria. I could be wrong with that, but that's how it looks to me. Dollar index breaking down, happy days. Somebody asked me on Shore about Aussie Swiss. We'll have a look at that. Yep. Double cross of dollar yen. I think we spoke about that, Shukri. Yep. There was another question. Oh, it was about the pound. Right. Okay. The pound on the Thursday trade, which was this one, right? Okay. The criteria surrounding that, as I refresh my memory, again, you've got to have context around this. And you can look at this in many ways. This is the weekly chart I'm looking at. Big bullish engulfing bar, straight into consolidation. And we've been in that consolidation for quite some time. Switch down to the daily chart. And the daily chart shows you that range fairly clearly. We had a break below that range, but we re-entered that range. We had a second break below that range and put in a what? Higher low. Then we had another big bullish bar that came back and retested this trade line. In the meantime, on the 4-hour chart, the 4-hour chart threw up an inverted head and shoulders. Shoulder, head, shoulder. We nominated this as the neckline. The neckline broke and was retested. We couldn't get back below it. And it's at that point I started looking for an entry long. Now we did get a higher low here. Not the candle I would trade, but this one is the candle I would trade, but it was a bit big to trade. So then we dug a little bit deeper and found on the hourly chart, or the 30-minute chart it was actually. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. We found on the 30-minute chart a break and retest of the daily pivot, potential long there, but it was only the second test of our trade line. We actually got another opportunity for that. This was the second opportunity. Normally we like to trade the first double cross of the pivot, and that was the case. That entry there didn't take it. What we were then looking for was the break of the trade line in concert with the daily pivot, got above the high here, then got the retest, and there's our entry there. So it was actually a break and a retest of the resistance trade line after we had all of that analysis going in our favor, saying that this was going to go long. So that was the premise of the entry. And that was, I can't remember who asked that question. Oh, it was Sino. Okay, that's why we took that trade. And hopefully you made something out of that to make up for the three bad ones I gave you. Gold for you, Ash. Can't break. Yeah, look, that's a really interesting one, Shukri. And I think one of the first strategies that somebody tried to teach me was that you trade the fourth test of a level as a breakout. I think that's phooey, frankly. Now that I've had a few years up my sleeve to actually test drive that. Well, here's a classic example. 1, 2, 3, bang, go short. Gee, you'd want to have taken profit because you'd be in heaps of trouble if you hadn't done that. My take on that is bang, bang, bang can go either way. It doesn't necessarily have to break. It doesn't necessarily have to be a false break. But the more it happens, the more likely I am to find a trade in that area. That's the way I look at it. So whether that be a break and a retest and I enter here, which I think we did, I don't know if it was on the pound or pound yen, we put an order underneath here. Well, guess what? Didn't happen. But then it comes back inside and then we've got an opportunity to trade it long, which we did. So that's the key for me. It's not necessarily, okay, bang, 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 break. It's bang, 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 break and retest. Then I've got an order, or bang, 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 break, false break. And then I've got an order in the opposite direction. So it's a place where I need to pay attention. That's what it is. And nothing more than that. I can't predict with any certainty, not even within 50-50, whether it's going to keep breaking or whether it's going to be a false break. So
just adding my second position, mate, in the FTSE.
Mate, I'm done. So let's go and take a look at that.
Okay. Just there. Okay, so let's just see what we got.
And you got to have a look at gold as well.
Oh yeah, I will check out gold as well. Where are we at? One. Yeah, I've just taken another long, so I've done the next next half effectively. You see my chart okay here?
Mm-hmm.
Just down at this level here. Just got back in again. What's going on? This is why is that delayed? Not sure what's happened there. I can tell your price is down here, not up here. So let me just see why that's got sticky. That's strange. This has got sticky, mate. Price is basically where we are. So I've added my position here at 60, 61, 65, and price is around about that point now. So if anybody's interested in trading it as well, then it's on the price down there, and I'm not sure. I don't know if everybody else's fusion is. Have you got fusion markets there, mate?
Yeah, mate. What do you want to look at?
Can
UK
you just have a
100?
look at the UK 100? Yeah, because mine's just it's the only one you can see here that all these are moving, but that one's not.
Okay. It is telling me current. Actually, mine's not moving either.
Yours is moving either. Okay. So what's happened there? Something's got sticky there. Not sure how.
Everything else is moving. That's weird.
Well,
Isn't
it moved into my price point, and now it's just bounced away again. Sorry, then it just got frozen up. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. Um, the
Yeah, it's
really
frozen
kind of any stop area if you have managed to get in, the stop area is going to be, where are you? Let me just do this.
FTSE's moving on IFS.
Yes, and I've got it moving on my other account as well, which is odd.
Definitely nothing on Fusion.
No, it's not down there. Really under this bar is probably where I want to get out. So 61.33 might be a get out point, but I don't know. I'm not quite sure why. I'm not quite sure why it's doing that.
Here with Dolly N, I've got a little bit of a doubt about it now. I was thinking of actually putting a bit of a hedge in long. I like this bar though. This looks okay.
Okay, let's have a look at gold, and we'll come back to the FTSE if it stops getting sticky. Well, I mean, you know, the funny thing with gold is that I was looking to see if I could get in long gold, but just not in this area. But you can see it bounced quite nicely off the trend line there, and we are really in a kind of situation with gold that suggests that it might even continue to push higher. Ainsley was saying that that there is a seasonal trade with gold that does actually rally. I think she said for the first 2 weeks of June. So I don't think we should be looking for downside with gold, and we can't anyway. You know, this isn't breaking down. Upside again, it's quite steep, isn't it? The way it's kind of moved up, but I find gold just a little bit. I'm finding gold just a little bit tricky to justify. For every time it comes down, I can't quite justify it because I was actually looking for gold to break down, but I think this is just as much about the dollar than anything else. Now, can I look at gold against anything else here? I can look at it against the Aussie. Let's have a look. You see, it's quite weak against the Aussie. Look at that. It's really weak against the Aussie. It's broken through this lower line here. So there's no doubt the Aussie is going to be a bit of a challenge now because of the slew of data that we have this week. But if it was just purely down to what we could see technically, then gold would look quite an attractive sell against the Aussie, just not against the dollar. Now let me see.
Am I the only one that's hearing these rumours about tariffs on Aussie coal and Oh no, I must be.
No, mate, you're not, and that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you know, it does seem that that we could get some weakness with the Aussie as well, and maybe that does come after the rate decision, and maybe that's what's being waited for. Maybe we're waiting for the genuine data to come out and be released, and then after that data is out and is released, then possibly we are looking for some weakness in the Aussie. So maybe on you know, tomorrow or Tuesday. Sorry, to either the end of the day today or Tuesday, we could see some weakness with the Aussie, but I wonder whether we are actually just going to float around with the Aussie until the big data is done, and then we see the genuine move. That could be possible. Now, I think certainly with gold showing some signs of weakness against the Aussie, I'm not that keen on it, even against the dollar. But I think, do you know, because it really is back to the same point. If we are trading the dollar, why would we want to trade it against gold if gold is showing some weakness against another currency? If gold was strong across the board, then I think we'd have the green light on that one. But as it's not, I don't really see the benefit of trading gold here. This is gold, I think, against the euro. How's it looking against the euro? See, again, it looks weak, doesn't it? If we're looking at this gold chart against the euro, this again to me looks weak. It looks like we may well be testing some lower levels, but there's a little trend line up here that that it's getting a little bit caged in at as well, caged in by as well. Maybe even a breakdown of this this little level here, probably. So I don't like the signs and signals with gold, if I'm completely honest. So I'm going to pass on that one personally. I'm just looking at this FTSE. FTSE's really interesting. It's just I can't analyze the FTSE. The head and shoulders is just starting to break to start to show itself. Actually, we got this right shoulder forming. It's not too concerning. You can't really see it from here, unfortunately, but because for some reason Fusion's just decided to freeze up, but this area here did hold up as a right shoulder along here, just here. You seem to have that right shoulder going on.
They wouldn't have suspended it. Nothing dramatic's happened, has it?
Well, no, the futures are still moving. You know, and you said that it's still moving on IFS. I'm not sure what's.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's not working on Fusion, but they need to sort it out because might not be able to manage this trade.
Yes, they do.
So yeah, I think we're down. We'd probably be down around about here. That's where price currently sits, which isn't a big problem currently because we still have a little level of support here. And I'm also looking at this. So that's really where price has really come back to test the lower end of this pattern right now. So it does need a bit of a spring up from this particular point, but I'd suggest that we're probably around about the place that we might need to close the trade if this continues to show signs of weakness here. We just had some data out of the UK. I think that's what I've just heard.
Shouldn't have, unless it's low volume or low priority.
Oh, sorry, not the UK, out the euro.
What's going on there? Bank holiday.
Final PMIs at 39.4. Not a big miss, but a bit of a miss. Oh, sorry, it was final manufacturing PMI is out of the UK. Sorry, that's what we're waiting for. So we have got a little bit of data coming, and then later on we got some ISM. So yeah, the FTSE is showing signs of weakness, but for some reason it's not showing it on this chart. It's just frozen up. So we're going to have to contact them about that. But it's getting very close to needing to take this trade down. So I might need managing later on. So I'm going to wait on it, mate, just for a little while longer. Just going to give it at least until I'll tell you what I might be able to do here. Let me at least show you it on the futures. Oops, just quickly do.
Surely. PH, are you in tomorrow? Are you available?
Let's have a look here. Oops.
Okay. Just let us know if you're in, mate. That'd be great.
Yeah, so just on the futures, it has it looks like it's breaking down, but it's not really. Let me make sure I've got the right chart up here. No, what did I have? Yes, so on the futures, you can see that that what we have is this trend line along here just being tested. So it's nothing too concerning for me right now. You know, while that trend line's being tested, it's nothing massively concerning. So I'm just going to give this a little bit more room to just to establish itself. If it breaks down this low, and you're going to have to get this on your own chart later on if Fusion decides to work, but if this starts to break down, then we got a bit of a problem. But right in this area, not really a big deal. I mean, if we start to see some weakness around about here again, then it might be worth taking the trade off. But for right now, I'm just going to stick with it and see what happens here, mate. So not too worried at this stage. What's that? 34. Yeah, I might got in a little bit early there. Yeah, it's not too concerning at this stage. No, I don't know why. Oh, I see. Yeah. So we'll cover it later on, mate. I think by the US show we'll know whether this trade has been decent or not. But I'm just keeping my powder dry for right now, leaving the trades where they are and seeing if we can get a little bit of a pickup from this point. It may well just float around here for the next 10 minutes while we get that UK manufacturing number out, and then after that's released, we might be able to get a little bit of a push higher. So we'll see what happens there. And if not, if it's going to push lower, then the trade's going to have to come out of the market, and then we'll either have a look a little bit lower if it comes from this point, or if there is an opportunity to trade it short, then we will do. But there's not a great deal at this stage that suggests to me that we are all of a sudden going to turn around. As I say, the news out of China, out of America about China was okay. So let me just double check to suggest if we are flipping positions here. No, we're okay. We're okay. So I'm going to stick with that. S&P futures, just so we can see, they've also come off just a little bit, but they are still, again, in this uptrend structure. Albeit at a fairly high point here. So be careful. That's the big thing for us really right now. We just got to be really careful, because there are possibilities that things do start to break down from this point. And if that's the case, then we'll flip positions. But let's just wait just for a little while. I might given what we might be seeing here, let's just check the Dow. Yeah, the Dow's looking a bit weak as well. So given the information that's available, then I might just see if I can get a little bit of a push higher to potentially take this position off. So it's not I'm not going to close it just yet. I will close it if it goes below this level, but if I get a bounce, then I might just take my position off, because I'm just seeing a little bit of weakness actually just right across the board. Let's just quickly check the VIX as well. Yeah, the VIX has just got a pop to the upside as well. So maybe there's a little bit more going on here than was first evident, mate. The signs and signals here are for, we are in a little bit of a box here. With the VIX, with the Dow, with the S&P. The FTSE's also just sticking to that trend line, but there is a bit of weakness. So
there's a change. There's something is definitely happening. I'm not sure what that is, but interestingly, the dollar's rallying against everything but the yen, which is good news for me. But
if the yen is showing some signs of strength, that might even suggest even further. Dollar is
potentially we're going risk off. Aussie's tanking.
Yes, it does seem the case, doesn't it? Okay, well,
Mm.
I think I will take that trade off then, and I'll wait until I won't. I'm not going to flip positions just yet. I'm going to see if I can get a bit more upside to get my trade off at a slightly better price. But I will flip positions if we come through this level. This is the key level for me. But a little bit of a move back into this area. I'm going to take these trades off the table. It might even be that that I'm not going to get exactly where I need to get, maybe to that point. But I'm going to take these trades off the table. So the long is going to come off. I'm just waiting to see whether I need to take it off now or whether I can get a bit of a bounce to take it off. And if it breaks this level here, then I'm going to be looking at the short. I see there's just probably enough fear out there at the minute that that might actually drive these markets lower. I don't have a downside setup as yet, but it does seem like something's going on, doesn't it?
Well, Chandra is telling us that there's China news out. The only China news I can see is that they are said to be, as Forex Factory is telling me, halt some US soy imports as tensions rise.
Oh,
That's
that's
all
pretty
I'm
big.
seeing. Maybe,
When was that? Was that just now?
13 minutes ago, which
Right.
coincides with the candles, I suppose.
That does. Okay. That is pretty big. Okay. Well, we definitely need to take these trades off then. Don't want to be in a market which is saying that. So I'm going to switch my stops up now and trade that now. I'm going to need to
Mind
see
you,
what's.
that's from a source called Delta One. I've got no idea who Delta One is. So if it's reliable or otherwise, I don't know.
Okay, mate. All right. Well, let's leave it there for now.
You might like
I'm
to
going
get a little bit more of a look at that, I guess.
Yeah, I'm going to go and have to do some digging. So I better
Mm.
get shifting here just to kind of make sure that I'm staying safe. But let's review it in the US show later on, and see what we ended up being able to do here.
Yep, happy days.
Okay.
All right, well, that's actually worked out for me fairly well, all of that news. I'm going okay with my trades. But yeah, dollar yen is now bouncing as well. It's all very interesting. Now, guys, where were you when the euro started to tank, right? Where were you? I know somebody put in there the euro was starting to tank, but remember I said euro US dollar? We're going to trade a false break, and we're going to trade underneath this bar here. I know it's bigger than I said it wanted to be. I wanted it to be, but I wanted it to close at least above here, right? Above this candle. And we were going to take TP1 at this level here, remember? And we were going to exit at the daily pivot. Where were we? We missed the damn thing. We did. I was talking too much, as usual, to pick that trade up, but we did flag that. So we would be now trading for free and looking for the daily pivot. But the market's a little bit iffy. I think that it looks like that move on the dollar was emotive based on that headline. And I have got absolutely no idea the validity of it because it's come from a source called, according to Forex Factor anyway, Delta One, whatever that means. I have no idea. Could be anybody, could be anything. At this point, it's a rumor, not a fact. And Ash will do some digging on that. We'll come and talk about it more in the US session. And of course, that will take place in 4 hours and 31 minutes from now. If you're part of that, we will see you then. If not, we will catch up with you tomorrow at the very same bat time, the very same bat channel. And that is 7:45. So that's a date, and don't be late. See you guys. Have a wonderful Monday.
See you guys. Sorry, I was just a bit distracted just managing these trades. Yeah, see you tomorrow, guys.